Hi, this is Dorothy Pang. I'm a licensed acupuncturist and I specialize in acupuncture for fertility. And a question that I get asked a lot that I'd like to discuss today is, does diet relate to fertility? And I think, we can go with our gut here, and most people would think, yes, it probably does relate to fertility. What we eat has an impact on our health, definitely, right? We know that if we eat a lot of cholesterol, we can get high cholesterol. So maybe eating less cholesterol filled food would be better if you have high cholesterol. Not saying that's everyone, of course. There's always going to be exceptions to the rules, and that's kind of what makes fertility health coaching a little bit difficult, is that blanket advice doesn't work for everyone, and so it's hard to siphon through that when you're just a regular person and you're not a fertility specialist. You don't really know if the advice that you come across is applicable to you or not, because sometimes people will come in and say, oh, I've been doing this thing and I thought it was good for me, and I'll tell them, well, for your body, it's not the best. We're not actually working towards balance when we do that. And you should probably maybe focus your efforts on this other aspect of your life instead. And so when you get fertility coaching, it really helps you to focus your efforts in a way that gets you the most benefit, and it's like the best use of your effort, right? Because we only have so much effort and so much time, and depending on your body type, certain actions might be very beneficial to your health. They might make a lot of changes in your life, while other changes might be minimally helpful in your life, because that's just not what really your body needs for you to focus on to get more results faster. It's just not the fastest route to results. So each body is a little different, but there definitely, we can say that no matter who you are, right, your diet affects your health, and so it would make sense to say that no matter who you are, your diet affects your fertility. I think that's very fair to say of everyone. If you were to eat a diet of junk food, that probably would lead to less fertility. And if you were to eat a healthier diet, and there are part of the difficulty is that there are so many different ideas of what a healthy diet is, that can be difficult to parse out for your particular body. But I would say yes, of course, a better diet would lead to better fertility. But there are a lot of nuances that can come into play depending on the type of body that you have. But let's do like a general overview. So, did you know that the foods you eat can directly impact your fertility? Let's talk about the best diet to support your fertility journey. I will try to be as general as possible because, like I said, there are specifics that will work for some people and not for other people. But there are a lot of things that we could say work for everyone overall, because for most people, it's a good thing to do, right? So, maybe consider some of these things, but always personally seeking the advice of a healthcare professional, of course, is better than seeking the advice of a stranger who doesn't know your case. So keep that in mind always, right? If you know something's not right for you, that's okay, don't do it. But asking a professional is the most efficient way to get things done. Okay, now that I've got my disclaimers out of the way. So, of course, diet affects health, and diet affects our reproductive organs and our reproductive elements. So, nutrients are needed to support the healthy growth of body tissues, including those that we use to reproduce, right? So, making sure that you have the basic nutrients that your body needs is very important. One of the basic nutrients that your body would need is protein. This gets a little bit sticky because I know a lot of people are like, well, I have a history of high cholesterol in my family, and so I don't eat red meat, and I only eat, fish and a little bit of chicken. And that gets complicated because for some people that absolutely makes sense, and for other people it's not relevant at that point in time while they're on their fertility journey. So while maybe later on in their life, if they're in their 60s, 70s, 80s, if they were to eat a lot of cholesterol filled meats, it might not be so good for them. Maybe during the reproductive years, it would not be a bad idea to get enough protein so that their body has enough protein to build the body parts that we're going to need for reproduction. Sorry, I'm not saying certain things because I'm not sure if Facebook likes if I say them, or YouTube. So eggs, sperm, these things, we have to build them out of something. So we want to make sure we have the building blocks to build them with. And if you don't have enough protein, what do you expect your body to build them with, right? So eating enough protein is important. That doesn't mean go crazy. I'm not saying go keto and only eat protein. No, 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 no. We have to be balanced in all things, right? But making sure you have enough protein is important. And for women who have a history of vegetarianism, that is more important. And for women with a lighter period, that would be more important. So, 1, eat enough protein. 2, taking away the stuff that's naughty. People don't like to hear this, but it makes sense that the more junk food we eat, the not so good, the worse your body might feel. So, I mean, there's the obvious things like maybe not eating so much fast food, not a lot of fries, not a lot of chicken nuggets, not a lot of cheeseburgers. We don't want to eat those too often, or greasy pizza, right? So, fast food often causes a problem because it's just not the highest quality food. If you're eating food that's highly processed and has been frozen, it isn't fresh, has a lot of sodium in it, maybe some other chemicals to help preserve it because it's had to ship a long way, that's just not quality building blocks to be building your eggs and sperm with. So the less junk food you eat, probably the better. And I'm not saying you can't eat any junk food. I'm actually a very balanced person, right? I don't like to tell people exactly what to do and not do a lot of the time, because what we need to do is to find something that works for you personally. And for some people, they really live for their weekly cheeseburger. And I'm like, well, if that's the thing, then that's okay. We have to balance it out the rest of the week because we can't have cheeseburgers every day. That's probably not very fertility friendly, right? But, having a cheeseburger once in a while, it's not necessarily bad, but having greasy cheeseburgers for lunch every day, it's probably not good either. So there's the balance, right? It's important to be balanced in life. So we want to have enough protein. We want to have less junk foods, like less of the saturated fats, right? Less refined sugar, less high sodium foods. Not saying no sodium, because we do need some, but again, balance, right? We want some, but we don't want a ton of it. Caffeine and alcohol, 2 generally not so great things. So less alcohol is better. Kind of goes without saying, it's just not a great thing. I know it's kind of disappointing to hear, but that's the reality. Caffeine, people will fight me on, and we have to be a little careful with reducing it because it can cause some symptoms when we reduce it too quickly. There are acceptable levels of caffeine. You don't necessarily have to have 0 caffeine, but some people just kind of don't realize how much caffeine they're consuming. So I would say look at your caffeine consumption and see if it could maybe be less. And could you be a little more thoughtful about your caffeine consumption? Hydration is super duper important. A body that's dehydrated just doesn't function optimally. And what we're looking for when trying to enhance fertility is optimizing function. So drinking water is pretty simple. It's not a complex procedure, right? But most people don't consume enough water. So monitor your water. How much water do you drink? And are there some easy ways to increase your water intake if that's what would be optimal for you? It's just a habit, right? There are a lot of habits that sometimes we develop that are not so good, but drinking more water usually would be a habit more towards the good side. So perhaps look into your hydration and figure out how you're going to get a little bit more water into your life, because a dehydrated body just doesn't work well. None of the organs work optimally if it's dehydrated. How can you tell? A quick kind of cheater Chinese medicine way to tell is to look at your tongue. Just stick out your tongue real quick for a second and take a look at it. And it shouldn't look dry. It should look wet. It should look like slippery, like a puddle. It should look slick. A dry tongue indicates not the best hydration. If you stick your tongue out for a long time, it's gonna dry out. So you can't look at it for too long. But if you stick it out for a second or two, you'll get a good idea of whether that tongue is hydrated or not. And you might be looking around asking other people to look at their tongues. Just say you're practicing Chinese tongue diagnosis, and you can get an idea of what different kinds of tongues look like. And then you'll see what I mean, that a tongue that is well hydrated looks wet, doesn't look dry. But that's kind of a practice thing. So just a quick tip for if you're wondering if you're hydrated enough. And then of course, acupuncture. Acupuncture is super helpful for enhancing fertility in general, but sometimes what also I'll target at the same time as fertility is digestion, because if a woman, I usually work with women, if a woman has digestion that's not that great, that means that she can't pull all the nutrients out of her food to use for building better eggs, right? So there are not a lot of things, unfortunately, that can be done in the world to improve digestion besides acupuncture. It's kind of because digestion is your body's way of pulling in nutrients, and if it can't pull in nutrients, then how's it supposed to feel really good and work any better than it works? So for enhancing digestive function, acupuncture is very effective, but it does take a little time. It's not instant. But if we don't have good digestion, we can't take in all the nutrients from our food, and we're kind of malnourished all of the time, because no matter how many good foods or supplements you take, you're not intaking all of it. You're kind of just excreting it all and losing it all. So having good digestion is very key to fertility for some people, and can be a game changer, because what if you're trying to eat the best diet and you're trying to take the best supplements, but your body can't absorb much of it at all? It's kind of I don't want to say a waste, but not the most efficient use of your resources, right? So acupuncture is great because it does directly bring more blood flow to the reproductive organs, but also I can use it at the same time to enhance digestion, so we can get more of those nutrients out of those supplements and out of the food that you're eating, all the good stuff you're trying to get. Because if you don't have a well-functioning digestive system, you just can't use all the good stuff that you're trying to give your body, right? Your body can't take it out of the food to use, and that's kind of a shame. Let me see. So acupuncture also helps to relax, which just because, of course, it's stressful trying to conceive and it taking a while. So after every acupuncture session, my patients feel much more relaxed. It's like they're floating on a cloud. The worries of the day have washed away. And it's really important to de-stress when you're trying to enhance fertility. A body that's relaxed is more likely to, rest, digest, reproduce. A body that's stressed is in fight or flight, not thinking about making babies. It's too busy and it's saving its energy in case it needs to run away. So it's really important to relax the body regularly, so it's in the rhythm that's proper for reproduction. So in summary, if you would like to enhance your digestion, you might want to look at your diet, remove the naughty things, and maybe increase your hydration. And I encourage you to look into acupuncture. It is really great for enhancing body function, and that we talked about digestion, we talked about reproduction, we talked about relaxation. My patients also usually get better sleep, they're in a better mood because they're more relaxed. There are all kinds of amazing, beneficial, positive side effects to acupuncture that all my patients love, while we're regulating the cycle and enhancing fertility and bringing more blood flow to those reproductive organs. Oh, quick side note, if it's for a male, I don't go anywhere near the pelvis. I treat in the lower leg. Sometimes they're nervous about that. For women, I do a couple points in the belly and the lower leg. And well, everyone gets points in the head, help them relax. But I feel like that's always a good thing to be more relaxed, right? So thank you for listening. This is Dorothy Pang, licensed acupuncturist, fertility specialist. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments, or if that seems a little too public, I'm on Facebook. Send me a message and I'll be happy to answer any of the questions that you might have, and I'll put my Facebook page in the bottom here so that you can find it really easily. Please let me know if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. I love demystifying acupuncture for everyone. All right, take care. I'll see you next time. Bye.